Good morning, everyone. It is July 31st today, so it's about, I don't know, it's 5:36 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's finally a really nice, cool morning. So it's got to be in the high 50s, I would guess, today. But good day to do some work. So I've wanted to do this video for a while, and I got a ton of work to do today. So I wanted to always do a day in the life of a giant pumpkin grower video. So figured today's as good a day as any. So it is going to be a little bit busier day than a normal day, but good day to get some work done. So we'll take you down to the pumpkin patch now and kind of show you what a normal day is like. Usually get started pretty early and get my work done down here, then do some actual work on the computer, and then I'm usually back and forth throughout the day. So give you kind of a glimpse into what it's like. So let's go down to the pumpkin patch. Giant tomatoes. We'll kind of touch base on those later. We got our vicious guard dog here. So had a lot of issues with deer this year. So first thing I normally do is come over. Got some really bright lights in the yard that I keep on all night long. So I usually get those shut off right away. Check the plants out a little bit here. This is definitely my favorite time of the day. Get down here early and check the plants. These pumpkins do a lot of their growing overnight. So first of all, get down here, make sure that the deer didn't cause any issues, which everything's looking good this morning. But be able to kind of check the pumpkins out right away in the morning. I do got 3 plants for anybody that didn't watch my video. So I got another plant over there that the deer actually got into the patch and kind of ate the plant, and so that one's real slow going. So I'll show you that one a little bit. These two right here, this is the 2551 Ford and the 2144 Barren plant. So when you give these things numbers, this 2551 Ford, so this was grown by a grower last year named Jim Ford, and it grew to be 2,551 pounds. So once you grow one of these giant pumpkins and then harvest the seed, you take it to one of the grow offs, get it officially weighed, usually end of September, beginning of October. If you get it officially weighed, once you harvest those seeds, whatever that number is that you had for weight, that becomes your pumpkin. So I actually crossed these 2 plants. So I used flowers from the 2144 Barren and pollinated this plant, and vice versa. So next year, hopefully we'll be growing a cross of these 2. So I'll kind of show you what the process is here. We every morning now, I'm kind of at the point where I come down, and there is a process that we use to measure the pumpkins. I'll show you that, and that gives us a estimated weight of how much the pumpkin weighs, and I compare that to whatever the numbers were for yesterday, and then that lets us know how much weight the pumpkin is gaining daily and if what we're doing is right. So let me get this set up. fancy boots on. So basically what we do is there's a standard way that everybody measures these giant pumpkins. You got to go, you just saw me do it over the top, over the sides, and then all the way around. Enter that into the website for giant pumpkins, and that gives you an estimated weight. And yesterday when I measured, I was 293 pounds on the 2551 Ford, and today it's measuring 316. So so we only did 23 pounds last night, so not great. So it was super chilly last night, not ideal growing conditions, but that's what we're at last night on this one. So let's quick measure up the barren plant and our pumpkin and see what we got there. All right, so the barren, this is measuring 398 today. Yesterday we were at 354. So that one did 44 pounds last night, which now we're getting better. So this pumpkin's been doing quite a bit better than that one. Not really sure why, it's just kind of the way it goes sometimes, but man, if we can stick with 40 pounds a night, even when it's cold. I think they was doing a little bit closer to 50 the other days, so pretty happy with that. So all right, so we got the sheets back on. A lot of people always ask what we put the sheets on for. We the skin on these pumpkins, these things grow so fast that you want the skin to stay really nice and kind of moist and supple so that they don't split on you. So that's been a big problem for a lot of pumpkin growers this year, is their pumpkin's been splitting. We've had crazy amount of heat, really humid, so these things are growing so fast a lot of times they'll split. If you let their skin dry out, they're a little more susceptible to splitting, so keep them covered up. Kind of helps with that. So we're gonna go check on the little pumpkin now. Let's see how this guy's doing. Good shape on this one. Just checking, one of the things I checked on the other pumpkins was making sure the stems were good, no splits. I want to check the blossom end on them, make sure they're all good. This I'm going to have to do some work on here later today. Blossom end looks good. We're actually going to be cutting off a few of the blossom ends today on the bigger pumpkins. One for sure has got a just a giant blossom end on it, so we're gonna cut that off because they'll actually grow over the top of it and that can cause problems. So next thing I do every morning is you want to check basically the stump where they come out of the ground, and make sure that there's no rot or no pests or anything like that have gotten in. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here. I keep a fan running on these all the time. So I got just little fans. I keep a chair over the top of these. This is on the little plant, so we just, not terribly big, but that thing's looking good. This is the barren plant. size comparison. So the thing's getting pretty big. I always like to kind of check out the remainder of the plant. I see we got some really light green leaves sticking up. Those are some secondaries we're going to get in there and cut today. Definitely have got some weeding we got to do today. We're going to get these shade cloths off today. Here's kind of a glimpse of some of the giant sunflowers too. So we had a really bad storm the other night that actually knocked a huge amount of these leaves down and knocked the sunflowers down. So I don't know if they're gonna stay on or not. Here's the stump on the 2551 Ford. All right, so everything's looking good down here, and we're going to go up, we're going to get Kirby the golf cart, get our buckets loaded, and we're going to get to work. So all right, so this is basically where the work of the pumpkin patch comes in. So every single day, sometimes every other day, but you got to go and bury the vines on these giant pumpkin plants. And basically what happens is, I'll show you a close-up of it, but everywhere that a leaf comes up, these giant pumpkins will send a taproot down into the ground, and then another root will come up out of the top, okay? And to make sure that those root well and establish well, I put a dirt mixture over the top of it, and I mix all the stuff. I'll go through it so that when that root comes out, it's feeding that plant. It's kind of supercharging it right out of the gate. So super labor intensive. There's a lot of different ways to do it. There's a lot of ways that pumpkin growers kind of go about this every day. Some don't vary, but I'm doing a little bit different this year. I'm mixing everything up in this giant bucket and kind of bringing that around. It's a lot of work. It sucks. I'm almost to the point I'm being done. As soon as the plant gets to a certain size, you terminate, cut everything, and then it just sends all that energy to the pumpkin. So I'm just about there, thankfully. But basically what I use is in this container, I've got, this is some soluble seaweed or kelp. I get that from a company called Ferdy Organic. That stuff's made a huge difference this year. I've been watering with that, putting that in my vine bearing mix. I've got some earthworm castings. Always put some of that in. I get this stuff from Happy Frog, which is, I just throw a couple of handfuls in. It's got a little bit of everything you need: alfalfa meal, feather meal, fish meal, bone meal. Just got a bunch of good organics, so when those roots hit it, got everything it needs. I got this Wonder Blend, a 5-2 Wonder Blend from Wow Organics. I think it's a humic fulvic mix with kelp or seaweed. I think it's seaweed in that one. We got some root wise, and then we've also got, I've got mycorrhizal fungi and azospirillum. I put that on so that we help those roots grow well, introducing beneficial bacteria and fungi in there. So basically what I do is I throw some dirt in there, throw some of these the fertilizer and beneficial bacteria in, add some water, mix it up, and I basically make mud pies and place those over the top of those root nodes, and it allows a good environment, like I said, for those roots to grow. And the idea with it is that they're high enough off the ground that in a couple of days, hopefully a week, otherwise I got to get in and water them, they kind of dry up after those roots get down into the ground, and they kind of crumble and fall off. So that's what's been happening on the other ones. So and it's been working good. The plants seem really healthy, so we're just going to keep on with that. But this is hours and hours worth of work right here, so I'm really looking forward to getting this out of the way today and kind of get on to some more fun stuff. Okay, back to why we do this vine bearing mix. So again, you can see the patch, it's just thousands of leaves. So the idea is that every single one of these leaves has got a root that goes right at the base of the vine, at the base of that leaf, has a root that goes down off the vine, and then there's another one that comes up over the top. So kind of the way it explains to me, the way it makes most sense is you really want to make sure that you've got good roots going down in there. Think of those as straws, right? So the more straws you got going down into the ground, the easier it is for the pumpkins to kind of suck all that water up, all those nutrients, and grow faster. So it's really important to make sure you have these roots well established into the ground. Makes sense. Some guys don't bury vines and they have pretty good success. So I don't know, maybe all this work is for nothing, but let me see if I can find one to kind of show you guys. Uncover some of this dirt. So yeah, here's one of those top roots going straight down into the ground. There's another one right there, and underneath this, if I was to dig this out, like way underneath, there's another one going down into the ground. So, you know, again, each one of these leaves has those two roots. I don't think they all do. Try not to get in there too much to disturb it, but that's basically what these giant pumpkins need to grow fast. You know, the ability to absorb a lot of water and kind of go from there. I've heard stories of guys that their stump where they planted the pumpkin actually rotted out and wasn't even part of the plant anymore. All these other roots going down in the ground was enough to keep the pumpkin growing, and guys got 2,000-pound pumpkins off of it. So beneficial all the way around. So I'll show you the process. It sucks, takes forever, but like I said before, we're almost done. So I shovel in, get this thing about half full just because it's so darn heavy. Get that thing in here, and then I start putting all my amendments in here. Mix it up, make sure everything's mixed in there really good. Then add water to make it even heavier yet, because why not? But we got to mix it till it's the right consistency to kind of make those mud pies. So if when you were a kid you really liked making mud pies at the beach, this is probably a perfect hobby for you, because this is where it's hours and hours and hours of elbows up to the mud just getting completely dirty. So show you what it looks like. So again, there's a lot of ways to do this. Some guys just use their garden soil, kind of put it over the top. There's a lot of ways to do it. This just happens to be the way that I do it. I found it get really good root growth out of it. Did something else last year, didn't work very good. So far this year, this has been working. So this is what I'm doing. So this is bucket 1 of probably 20 today. So again, this is where the work comes in. But I started doing it, and usually when I start something, I like to finish it, give it a good year to try, and that way I can compare it. So this is what we're trying this year. So I'll try to speed this up a little bit. I'm not gonna do the whole video watching, but I'll kind of show you guys the process and go from there. Yeah, I think it's probably like 100 pounds. So basically this is it. I come in here, I take a look. We want to get rid of any new growth. So this plant probably grew, I don't know, 16 inches last night. So it's really, these plants are trying to grow out this way, and then they also send vines. So these vines go east and west. They also try to send vines north and south, which we don't want. Those are called tertiary vines. These are all secondaries. We just want the secondaries to keep things clean so we can get in here and weed. So we got to come in, pop all those off, make sure everything's nice and clean. And I get a handful of this. I get some underneath, some around the top. All are good. Go to the next one. Make sure it's packed in relatively tight. The kicker with this is we want enough to get the roots started and make sure they got some fertilizer as soon as they emerge, but not so much that this stuff doesn't dry out in a short while. We want this stuff to dry out after those roots are established. So sometimes if it's really hot, I got to come back with a hose, which you'll probably see me do later today, to some of the these I did earlier in the week that are starting to dry out. So you'll kind of see me go, but this is the process. It also helps hold the vines down. So basically all we're trying to do is just make a good environment for these roots to grow. So I mean, it is one giant pumpkin plant, but basically I treat every single one of these leaves like it's kind of an individual plant. You give it the right amount of fertilizer, try to make it happy, and hopefully it makes the rest of the plant healthy. So that is one vine out of probably 75 I'm going to do today. So I'll do like a time lapse, speed it up a little bit, but yeah, this is the work. Here's a pretty good look at some of these dry spots I'm going to come back and get this week, but you can actually see all the roots coming out. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to get, is all like just a nice damp environment for all those roots to come out, and we grow big pumpkins. So alright, I'm going to take a quick detour from burying vines real quick. I want to run, last night I ran the overhead sprinkler and did quite a bit of watering and did it like a foliar feed. So I had some fertilizer in, and I used a product, some calcium that has silicone in it, and it kind of left a residue on the leaves. So I don't really like it. I need to empty that tank out. So I'm gonna let that happen while I'm burying vines. So there is some fertilizer in that tank. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Today is actually a biology day. I do fertilizer one day, biology the next day, and I keep rotating. But we gotta empty half that tank. So we're just gonna add a little bit more fertilizer to that tank, run it through the drip irrigation, get back to burying vines. And then while we're burying, that tank will fill up with clean water, and then I'll be able to run the sprinkler and clean those leaves off. So that's what we're up to today. So what's currently in there is a high potassium soluble fertilizer that's called Harvest More. So I've got that in there, and again, then I add that calcium. We're gonna put a little bit of micronutrients in here. We're gonna put some sea minerals in, just a mineral supplement. We're gonna put a little bit of calcium magnesium in there, a little bit of humic acid, and we are gonna put quite a bit of amino acids in. And for actually, I'm also gonna run a little bit of the, actually quite a bit of the soluble seaweed kelp from Ferdy Organic. I'm gonna put that, and I try to run that, all my vine bearing mix, every time I water, try to get a little bit of that in. So again, this is in the grand scheme, because I think I only have like 125 gallons of water in there. Just a little splash of everything, just so to give these pumpkins a little boost throughout the day. It was cool last night. I have moisture sensors in the patch. Patch is right now at 31%, so I don't want to water it too much, just a little bit. So we're gonna empty that tank, we're gonna add this in, I'll show you that process. All right, so basically, right now I'm still running off rainwater. I installed this last year. Our big pole shed, I just got these tanks, all the water every time it rains, which we've had plenty of that this year, runs off the roof, runs through the filter, fills these tanks up, and then I dug a line in underground, and it runs down here to this IBC tote, which is just a 300-gallon tote, and that water comes up and into here. And then basically what I can do is add my fertilizer that I feel like running for the day into this tank. Lots of cords. Got a pump in there to circulate all of that water. And then what I'm going to do here in a second, I'm going to let that run for a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is turn on our pump, and that'll run all of the drip irrigation tape, and we'll empty this tank out. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. Got a nice frothy mix. We are going to turn on the water to that. We are going to turn on the water to our drip irrigation. We're going to empty our filter. Make sure that's clean. Oh yeah. We're going to close this guy. And then we're going to let that do its thing. So that's only going to take probably about 15 minutes to empty out that little bit, but we got stuff to do, so we're gonna keep burying vines. Stay tuned. Okay, vines are done. Didn't take as long as I thought. I think the plants are actually slowing down a little bit, but got a couple hours in. Definitely got dirty. So tank is pretty much filled up. I'm gonna go ahead and flip the sprinkler on, hose these leaves down a little bit, get some of this residue off of them, and then I think I'm gonna get cleaned up, get something to eat, maybe get a cup of coffee, and then we're gonna do something else before we actually got to do work stuff. So I'll have to get on the computer at some point today. I got some business to take care of, but definitely got some time. We can get some more stuff down here, so take you along with me. Real quick, I'm gonna cover up the pumpkins. I just put a tarp over them so that the sheets don't get wet. I just don't like pumpkins to get anything on them, just in case there's any maybe a little leftover residual chemical in the tank. So I'm gonna cover those up with a tarp, then we're gonna fire the sprinklers up, and then we're gonna check on the tomato plants real quick, just see how the tomatoes are coming along. Then I got a meet, and so I'm gonna have to grab a shower, get ready for work, and jump out the computer, get that done. And then depending on what time that gets done, I'll be back out here for the second part of the day, which is I don't know, vine bearing's probably the worst. Weeding would definitely be up there with second worst, I guess, but needs to get done. So back out here doing that for a couple hours after lunch. Sucks it'll be the hottest part of the day, but shouldn't be too bad today. So we'll get that done and then kind of show you that process. All right, now we're going to switch our irrigation. Turn that back on. We are going to switch from drip irrigation to the sprinkler. Oops. Get that thing, double check to make sure we got good coverage there. Probably blowing the air out of the line right now. There we go. So this sprinkler is pretty nice. It covers probably 80% of the patch. Good enough. So it's same path as the fertilizer that I laid down yesterday. So any of that residual fertilizer that was on the leaves, they're just trying to get that knocked off. So, and it probably would have been okay. Probably would have been fine on the leaves, but I don't know, kind of left a white residue, and I'd rather be safe than sorry. So we're gonna rinse it off. The leaves will like it. Sun's out now, so I'm sure the plant will appreciate it. So for now, we're gonna check on some tomatoes real quick, and I got to get some other work done. All right, it's about 2:45. I got work done, which is good because now I can finally get back outside and do some work. So I am we're gonna head down and we're gonna start weeding. So we got some time here before supper, a couple hours. So probably the hardest working person I know is my mom, and she always said if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. So I just modify that a little bit here during pumpkin season, and it's if we got time to lean, you got time to weed. So we're gonna get down there and do some weeding. So it's not gonna be a great video, but I'll show you how I do it anyway, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right. So one of the things I learned last year was last year I tried to stay out of the patch as much as I could. I didn't do a ton of, neighbors are going by, they probably think it's weird I'm standing out in the middle of the yard talking. I didn't do a ton of weeding inside of the plant because I was kind of under this idea that I really didn't want to compact the soil, and the weeds were like, I swear to God, some of the weeds were like 6 feet high. The issue with having really good soil, putting all this fertilizer and water, is pumpkins grow huge, but the weeds grow huge too. So this year I'm way too OCD to have that many weeds, so I try to stay on top. I try to get out every day and do a little bit of weed, and I kind of usually will break it up into sections, so it's not so overwhelming, but I haven't done it in a couple days, so we got to do the whole thing. So one of the things I started doing was I got my handy dandy tool belt, and I use a big stirrup hoe, and then I got this very small little handheld stirrup hoe. So this thing's nice just because while I'm in there, I can easily get in between all these leaves and get after it with this little stirrup hoe, and I don't have to get back out of the patch, grab the stirrup hoe, and get back in, and it's not as much traffic. So kind of my little tool belt thing. That works really good. Plus you're constantly having to trim in there any secondaries that get around. So plus I got a little old school cell phone holder, that way I can listen to tunes while I'm in there. So we're gonna jump in. So anybody that does any sort of gardening, weeding's the worst. So tools are what make it a little bit easier. So if you have never used a stirrup hoe and you do a lot of garden, I highly recommend getting one of these. This thing's a game changer. So this thing, I got a lot of miles on this one. This little guy, like I was saying before, has really been a game changer. So kind of show you how this thing works on the outside of the patch. The little one I use more on the inside on the leaves. Alright, like most things out here, you get started doing one thing and then something else pops up. So these shade cloths that I got up on top, they're in the way constantly. I put them up when the plants were actually that big. You can see they're 5 times the size now. They're just in the way now. Been trying to not really remove them if I didn't have to, but it's time. They got to get out of the way. So I'm gonna have to figure out a solution to get these things out of here. I got no idea without completely trampling these plants. So I don't know, I'll figure something out. Yeah, that went as horribly as I expected it to go, but it's off of there. We didn't really have any broken leaves or anything, so that's a success, I guess. So I got to do this one, but I'll save you guys the headache of having to watch it. But we'll get this other one off, then we're really gonna get in there and start weeding, so be a little bit easier. All right, we got that one all off. Just a sea of green over there. So the old 12-foot PVC pipe that's been sitting in the garage forever finally came in use. So while I was coming out of there was a vine I needed to trim. You've probably seen me cutting a couple of the other ones. This one, even as young as this leaf is, like, this is just, I mean, that's pretty small in comparison to some of these other ones, but this has got the roots, so you could see this would be the top and the bottom. So on this young of a leaf, look at how big these roots are that come off the bottom, and then, oh, maybe you can see that. So these are the roots that come off of the bottom, and these are the roots that come off of the top. So, and I broke most of them off, so you can see the benefit in having these two roots come down to where if I didn't put that big clump of dirt on there, you wouldn't really, yeah, you might have the bottom ones, but the top ones very rarely form. So interestingly enough, we had tons of rain, inch and almost 3/4 2 nights ago. I watered yesterday. I watered this morning to empty that tank, and this is dry. Like these need to be watered. So I mean, how quickly these plants absorb, you know, that top 6 inches of water is just absolutely crazy. So we gotta get weeding so that we can get some water down on these plants. So keep moving. Okay, I keep getting sidetracked when I'm trying to weed in here. You guys probably saw me chucking stuff out of the patch. I see that stuff. You just got to get it when you see it. But basically what's happening is this morning when I was burying the vines, you saw me like plucking off all the extra growth. So these plants, to try and keep them organized, they grow kind of like a Christmas tree. They got a main vine, and then there's side vines that come out of them. But then on top of that, so these side vines are called secondaries, and then you get tertiaries that want to grow up and down. And these plants just want to make a giant mat and like drown out all the weeds and just put as many pumpkins on them as they possibly can. So we're going against nature. We're trying to make these things only do 1 pumpkin, and we're trimming off all the extra stuff. So as I do that, and as these plants continue to grow, the plant's fighting back. It's basically trying to send out these tertiaries and trying to throw out other pumpkins all the time. So it seems aggressive because I'm cutting a lot out of the plant, but it's basically better for the plant to be a little bit more open, a little bit more organized, so a guy can get in there and do some of the weeding in that. And again, the organization helps send all of those nutrients and stuff and that water to the pumpkins. So it's kind of a necessary evil, but at some point you'd think the plants give up, but they just keep fighting the good fight. So and we keep trimming. So I'm gonna get to weeding. I got probably about 2 hours of weeding down here, maybe a little bit more. So I'm gonna try and get done before supper. All right, the weeding around the patch done. Oop, can't see me. Too shady with the big hat. It's starting to cool off now, so I'll be able to go back to the regular hat. But before I go up, I keep saying it, but I just keep seeing stuff that needs to get done. I want to get these sprinklers on, just get this patch watered a little bit early tonight. It just seems really dry. Get that done. I'm gonna roll up these shade cloths, and then we're probably gonna have some supper. So all right, supper's been done. Spaghetti tonight was very good. It's got to be pushing 6, huh? Let's see what time it is. Let's see, 6:30. So we got a couple hours worth of work left. We're gonna spray for grass tonight, which is something new. Instead of having to continue going in there and weeding, we're just gonna I bought a product it's just a grass killer, so we're gonna give that a spray. And then we do got a spray for powdery mildew and insecticide tonight. So I get to put on the full hazmat suit, get all that done, and then we're probably gonna water again right at sundown. So hopefully right as the sun goes down, I'm gonna spray for grass right now, but hopefully I'm gonna be able to get the drone up in the air. Now that I got the shade cloth off and maybe get some cool drone footage. So yeah, let's give that a try. All right, so sprayed the little bit of grass that was left over. That stuff pretty horrible. I had to use face mask. Stuff was kind of just stunk. It kind of smelled like gas. I don't know what to tell you. Last thing we got to do, we're going to spray for fungicide. You don't do this every night. I do it about once a week. So we're going to do fungicide and a little systemic insect. The grass killer and spraying for the stuff is my least favorite thing to do with this whole pumpkin patch. It's a necessary evil. These bugs and you know, they'll just kill this patch, kill these pumpkins quick. So you got so much time into it, you got to protect them. So it's a necessary evil. So it's all right. It's getting close to sunset, so I'm getting tired. It's been a long day already. Getting ready to be done. So we're gonna get this thing sprayed quick, show you that process. I gotta get all done up in my PPE protective equipment, and we're gonna get this thing sprayed, and then we're gonna be done for the day. And tomorrow, get up and do it all over again. So just like in the morning, everything's quiet down here. I don't know if I like the mornings or the evenings better, but probably the evenings. Got one last thing to do. We did fertilizer this morning. We're going to do some biology here this evening. Patch started out at 31% moisture content this morning. And when I was weeding, I could tell it was getting really dry. So I turned the sprinklers on, put 150 gallons down, and right now it's at 23%. So this patch really needs these plants, and these pumpkins are really drinking. So I have to step up my game a little bit here in the next couple of days. Keep watering more, doing all that. So we're gonna throw some fertilizer in, get these pumps fired up, and what do we got? 8 o'clock. So we've been going for way over 12 hours throughout the day today, but feels good. So I think I'm gonna get this pump started and maybe grab a cold drink, come down here and wait for this pump to get done and just kind of enjoy the evening. It's like 72 degrees, perfect night out. So let's get this pump fired up and get it over with. Well, that's a day in the life. I actually got a little bit more to do. I got to turn the lights on and stuff, just make sure we keep the deer out. But that's a day in the life of a giant pumpkin grower. So it's a lot of people think I'm crazy. It's a lot of work. There's other guys out there that put a lot more effort in even than I do, and you gotta love it. I've always liked growing stuff, and from the first time I seen like how fast and how quickly these giant pumpkins grow, the plants and the fruit, like I was hooked. So I really want to see 50 pounds in one night. I think we got 44 last night, so hopefully tonight, I don't know about tonight, but we'll see. One of these nights I'm gonna get it figured out. But like to see that, like to get a 2,000 pounder, so we just keep working hard. So like I said, it might seem crazy, but you know, it's just work. I mean, you know, if you sit around, don't do anything, just like everything in Wisconsin, you rust, so stuff starts hurting. So you might as well keep working, keep after it. You know, I bet you I got a lot of steps in today. I mean, I don't even know, I don't keep track of any of that, but you know, keeps you healthy, keeps you moving. Got a lot of stuff done. You know, I mean, I had stuff done that I didn't even video today. Went and helped my sons out, and did some other work around the house. So I think it's good. It just keeps you moving. Hopefully it'll keep you young. And you know, you get to a point where we're very close to being at where the plants, which is the bulk of the work, they're almost ready to terminate, so that I don't have to be doing as much work, just fertilizing, watering. And then it's the fun part. You get to sit back and enjoy kind of the fruits of the labor. So yeah, really looking forward to it. I mean, it's my favorite thing to do in the morning, is come down and see how big they've gotten overnight. In the evening, after a hard day's work, have a drink. Usually I have a beer, but today we're gonna have a scotch. So have a good pour for a good day's work. So oh, that's good. But yeah, I mean, you know, a drink always tastes better after a hard day's work, and yeah, I enjoy doing it. So hopefully we get a big one. If not, we'll try again next year. We'll try again the year after, and looking forward to getting some pictures of my grandson on the big pumpkins. And if the pumpkins don't do good, hopefully we get something big on the tomatoes. I'm really enjoying doing those. I thought about taking a year off next year from doing pumpkins. Maybe we'll just do tomatoes next year and focus on them, but we'll see what happens. So I think we'll see, you know, depending on what this year brings for the pumpkins, we'll see what we do next year. But yeah, if anybody's crazy enough and wants to try growing these giant pumpkins, you know, you don't have to put this much work in. I know a lot of guys that just plant the seed and they get what they get. And but if anybody's interested, I'll have seeds at the end of this season from these pumpkins. If you watch this video and you're still interested, let me know. I'll send you some. So I'd be more than happy to do that. So, but thanks for watching, and stay tuned.